This is Election Brief. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Over the next half hour, we'll bring you stories from across the political divide. Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Election Headquarters for an informed electorate. Please do stay for details. Flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, is this afternoon inaugurating his campaign for the 2024 general elections. The team, consisting of technocrats and party stalwarts, will be tasked to lead the campaign activities towards ensuring the party maintains power. Samuel Mbura of our political desk is live from the Alisa Hotel with details. Samuel Mbura, tell me more about this inauguration and what are the names popping up in this campaign team?
The NP campaign team member, the vice president, a week ago. So it is a 4 team. He is to chair his
Samuel Mbura will be bringing us. We'll try and get him back. There's possible a bad connection there. We'll try and get him back to tell us more about this technical team of Dr. Bawumia, who was supposed to be leading his campaign. Now, as the December 2024 national elections approach, President Akufo-Addo has charged the Electoral Commission to ensure credible and peaceful elections, and adding that they must work with political parties to address their concerns. Delivering his last but one State of the Nation address, the president assured that government will ensure Ghana's reputation is not damaged after December 7 polls. He warned nobody should undermine the integrity of government institutions for parochial reasons.
Mr. Speaker, democracies are founded on elections. And the holding of free and credible elections ensure that people have confidence in the government that emerges at the end of the process. The honorable members of this House, who are at the center of it all, know more than the rest of us that this is an election year. The increased decibel level in all communications would ensure that even the most politically uninterested person among us would know that on December 7th, we shall be going to the polls to elect a new president and new members of parliament. A lot of the responsibility lies on the Electoral Commission to put the organization in place that will ensure that we have credible elections. Government is doing its part to make the work of the Electoral Commission go smoothly. A lot of responsibility lies on the political parties as well, and I hope that the parties recognize that their credibility is also on the line, especially with some people wanting to undermine the multi-party democratic system of government. It is up to the parties to demonstrate that competitive elections are an honorable, character-enhancing experience, and that at the end of the process, the loser will congratulate the winner, and the world does not come to an end because an election has been lost. There is nothing inherently dirty or corrupt about politics, and nothing about elections that should generate violence. We who are in politics, and we who are members of political parties, owe it to ourselves, the institutions we claim to belong to, and above all, we owe it to Ghana and the people of Ghana to make politics and elections the serious and joyful phenomenon they should be. In discharging their responsibility, I urge the Electoral Commission to work with the political parties to iron out whatever problems there might be. And I'm happy that the Electoral Commission, after engaging the parties, has shelved plans to change the 7th December date. Politics, after all, has been described as the art of the possible. And if that is what we are engaged in, it should not be beyond us to resolve the problems that come up and concentrate on working to build the happy and prosperous country we want. Government on its part will do what is expected of it to make sure that the reputation of Ghana is not damaged and the free will of the people is manifested at the end of the electoral process. And I want to reassure the people of Ghana that I'll do everything in my power to help ensure the conduct of transparent, free, and fair elections on 7th December.
Whilst many welcome the idea of a free, fair, and peaceful election, they are also skeptical about the commitment of politicians to achieve this goal, considering the outcome of the 2020 elections in which 8 people died. Prior to the 2020 elections, the Vigilantism Act was passed to check activities of vigilantes, and the Christian Council got the major political parties to sign a peace pact, but that did not stop the chaos in some parts of the country. Remember, the report of the Ayawaso West Wogon incident is still gathering dust, with many questioning if there is really the political will to ensure a peaceful election. Well, I've been joined for this conversation by Dr. John Osai-Kwapong, who is a political analyst and CDD fellow in governance. I've also been joined by Albert Ahin, who is coordinator for the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO. Let me start with you. Dr. Kwapong, how have you been digesting the president's assurance of peaceful elections?
Excuse me. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Aisha. I think it's a very important call. We've done our best to go through 8 elections during this Fourth Republic. Yes, some have been a little more controversial than the others. But if you look at the sentiments that Ghanaians have expressed in the Afrobarometer survey, 8 out of 10 still say that we should choose our leaders through regular elections. So that commitment to elections is there. We felt differently about different elections over the years. Afrobarometer does ask how free and fair we think the outcome of a most recent election was. And we've gone through feeling like some elections were completely free and fair, but also feeling like some weren't. I'm sure it would come as no surprise that, for example, only 26% felt the 2012 election was completely free and fair. We are also going into another election in which only 37% felt the 2020 election was completely free and fair. So I like the way the president is framing the upcoming elections, that look, it has to be free, it has to be fair. He calls on the Electoral Commission to work with the political parties to address any concerns, because I'm sure you're aware that some way, somehow, and it's one of the things that I'm always curious about, we've come to somehow believe that winning or losing an election is something that the Electoral Commission makes happen or doesn't make happen. This current Electoral Commission is also going into the 2024 election with not the best of perceptions in the public eye. If you look at the most recent Afrobarometer, only 10% express a lot of trust in the EC. So I'm happy that the president is calling on the EC to work with the political parties to address whatever concerns they have. I'm also happy that he did say that, look, at the end of the day, elections is not the reason why we must, destroy ourselves or destroy the reputation of Ghana, which means that our security agencies and the security forces will have a very critical role to play, in ensuring, peace, security on that day. But I think that because there are, as you mentioned, the Ayawaso incident and the reports that doesn't appear that anything has been really done with the recommendations, and some of the pockets of incidents that we saw in 2020, I'm sure would sort of raise skepticism in some people's minds. But I'm really hoping that the security agencies would also respond to the president's call and ensure that we do this in a peaceful atmosphere. And then ultimately, the call on the political parties and their supporters. Yes, elections, brings out our passions. It gets us all excited. Everybody's determined. They want their side to win. But it is not the reason why we must, quote unquote, either harm each other or jeopardize the peace and security of the country. So for me, I think it's an important call that we must all take, the critical steps that are needed to ensure that we would have a free and fair and peaceful election.
We've been joined also by Albert Ahin. They normally monitor some of these when the elections are ongoing. They are on the ground monitoring exactly what happens. Now, Mr. Ahin, technically, what for you will constitute a free, fair and peaceful election?
I'm listening. Technically, hello?
Yes, Mr. Ahin, you are on air.
Okay. Technically, what will constitute free and fair elections will involve an election where people are free, or I would say when you can decide whether or not to vote and vote freely for the candidate of your choice without fear or intimidation. So, free and fair elections technically involve parties who have registered, they are engaging in political freedom, and then they are managed by the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission is the body that organizes elections in this country. So technically, when we are saying that elections should be free and fair, we expect that the Electoral Commission will go strictly according to the legal framework. In the first place, you want to know whether there was a constitutional right of the citizens to even vote and to seek office. And also whether elections, for example, in this country, are held on a regular basis. You see, there should be a legal framework that should give the guidelines for elections to be conducted. And are these guidelines, stating that elections should be conducted regularly? If it's done regularly, then of course we are being free and fair to elections. And then again, with regards to the electoral management body itself, whenever there's going to be an election, we do what we call demarcation, setting the boundaries, creating polling stations, and whatever. And you would also want to know whether there's any gerrymandering. Gerrymandering meaning that is there any cheating in the allocation of polling stations and the various constituencies or whatever it is. If that thing exists, then of course you are not talking about the free and fair election. Again, you can talk about the electoral rights. And by electoral rights, we mean whether citizens were generally able to go to the election on the basis of free suffrage and access. Do the citizens have free access to the voting? And then you can also talk about the voters register, technically. Is the voters register accurate? And is it open to voters for easy, effective registration? These are the things that you should be having in mind.
Ms. Ahin, what then should be our guide, knowing, looking at some incidents in the past, if we want to use them as our reference point?
Yeah, so if you want to look whether elections have been free and fair in this country, you will first of all ask yourself this question: was the election free, and free from what? Free from what? Free from intimidation. Free from access. Were people having the right to go to the police stations? Were they not hindered? Were the campaign processes okay? Whether elections were carried out without violence, intimidation, bribery, vote buying, incumbency advantage, or, for example, massive financial advantages of the incumbent. If all these things are not there, and it went on smoothly, then you can be talking about a free and fair election. And of course, to talk about the media as well. Was there a media access? Was there freedom of speech? Was it protected? And then whether the ruling party, for example, was not proportionately benefiting from governmental-owned media. When you have all these things happening, then of course you are talking about a free and fair election. And then you would also want to look at the voting process. Was the voting process conducted in a secret ballot with one person, one vote, with adequate security to protect the ballots from being stopped or the ballot boxes from being stopped? Was there multiple voting, or was there destruction of the valid ballot? These things are all the ingredients that contribute to free and fair elections.
We'll certainly be watching out some of these things as we approach the 2024 elections. I'm grateful for your time. Albert Kofi Ahe is coordinator of CODEO. Dr. Osain Kwapon is a political analyst and CDD fellow. Grateful that you all joined us. Now, flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, has inaugurated his campaign for 2024. The team consisting technocrats and party stalwarts will be tasked to lead the campaign activities towards ensuring the party maintains power. Samuel Mbura has joined us back on the line to tell us more. Samuel Mbura, which names are making the list? Who are the technocrats who are going to be campaigning for Bawumia?
Well, Asha, we are reaching you from the Alisa Hotel, where the party, top hierarchy party members are currently meeting the names that have come up. I'm talking about the nominees for the campaign team. We know it is a 40-member campaign team of the MPP flag bearer ahead of the 2024 general elections. And we know these names have been in circulation since last week. So today, the main objective or the main agenda is for the flag bearer to officially outdoor or inaugurate them. So all those who have been mentioned or those whose names have been captured are currently part of this meeting. So the first session, they'll meet with the team and then deliberate on all the important issues. Then after that, they'll come and address the media. The vice president, who is the flag bearer of the MPP, has already arrived, and the meeting is currently underway. Just 30 minutes ago, the media was allowed entry, and I had brief conversations with a few of those that have been named in the campaign team. I spoke with Asamoah, and we know his nomination has come out strongly. I mean, with some people sharing divergent views about his inclusion in the sports sector, where he is actually the chairman of the manifesto committee and then playing a critical role in the MPP campaign. So he said that he wasn't perturbed about the criticism so far, and all those who have also been given the opportunity to serve, they see it as a privilege at this particular critical moment that the party wants to break the eight. They think that their inclusion is an indication that they are capable of contributing towards the electoral success of the MPP. So, Asha, what I can say for now is that all those who matter in the MPP, in as deliberations continue.
Meeting where Dr. Bawumia is announcing his campaign team. And just as we heard from Mbura, a lot of technocrats who are part of this meeting. He'll be telling us more in our subsequent bulletins. Let's get more. The pre-tertiary teacher unions in Ghana, comprising the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana, have collectively issued a document outlining their demands for inclusion in the manifestos of political parties. Some of the areas border on their curriculum and conditions of service. I've been joined by General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Musa, who will be telling us more. Mr. Musa, let's have a breakdown of what exactly you want incorporated in the manifestos of the political parties.
you very much. Good afternoon to you and to all your viewers and listeners. I think for the past years, it has always been a reaction from the teacher unions, and but let me also say the teachers, where we will be called upon that the minister said this, what do you have to say? The president said this, what do you have to say? This time around, we are saying that the narrative must change. We want to have the narrative changed. And because we want to have the narrative changed, we have indicated, we developed our own document, and we call it demands. We are demanding, because this is our profession. This is the work we have been doing for the past 30, 40 years. This is the work that we've been doing. Number one, we are saying that there is the need for quality education in that particular document. Quality education. The reason is simple. We need to be careful not to create a class society where those who have can go to a better school, and those who don't have will rather find themselves in schools that lack resources, that even the basic necessities that the schools then need to operate, they don't have. If care is not taken, we will end up creating a class society. Don't forget, somewhere 2019, 2020, thereabout, we were told by the World Bank in the Human Capital Index report that if care is not taken in the next 18 years, we will have about 54% of our human capital going waste. And I think that will be dangerous for us. Pick the second, fast forward, the second one is the working environment. This one, we don't need a prophet to tell us about what is happening around us, particularly where the children are learning. My sister, if these children were to be more than 18 years, I tell you, they would have been organizing demonstration every day to put pressure on our political leaders and decision makers to actually provide them schools. Why? Because it is like the child must be seen, but the child must not be heard. What is that kind of principle we always bring across? And it is dangerous. When that happens, the children will go into child labor. We will have teenage pregnancies on our hands. You will have to go and expand prisons and all that. I don't think, as a just society, that is what we want. So we keep saying that the learning environment must be looked at, and all the resources needed must be provided. We are also saying that the next one is the issue of the free SHS. We started talking about this not today, that the free SHS must be reviewed. So that one, and when we are talking about reviewing, currently we're doing what we call the equality principle. That is not the way to go. We are saying that let us adopt the equity principle. We have operated this particular policy since 2017. Normally, when you are doing a policy like this, there are three principles. We have the three things that must guide this policy. We have the distributive policy, we have the redistributive, then we have the regulatory. The redistributive or the equality principle is what we are doing now. We are saying that the time has come for us to have a second look at it and do a review, because an unexamined life is not worth living. We have been talking about this one. Fast forward, we have the fourth one, which is the teacher factor. Look, the teacher brings on board his competence, morale, motivation, attitude, and then performance. And the teacher must be rewarded for it. But always the teacher will be told that because you are many, because you are that, the teacher is not motivated. There are many promises sitting in our collective agreement, and even in the manifestos of the political parties, which have these promises have not been implemented. And we are saying that that is not the way to go. Everything about the teacher must be done now, because the most important factor among the factors of production is labor. And the people mandated to give us the quality labor to help us develop our country are the teachers. And we need to look at them and take care of them very well to avoid future repercussions that of things that we will not like. The final one is the teacher deployment. The deployment here, we are talking about putting teachers at places where their skills are needed. We gave a classical example. Why should somebody go and learn a Ghanaian language and then you post the person to Zabsgutatale? Then the person who went to learn Dabani you post him to Ghana to go and teach. These are the things we're talking about. So
have you had any engagement with the political parties, at least with the major political parties, on this document?
They have been inviting us, and we have indicated to them that this time we want the narrative change. We want a change in narrative. We don't want them to speak, and then the media will come to us and come and ask us, oh, have you heard this one? What is your opinion? This one, we are putting it before them.
So this is a conversation you are yet to have with the political parties to ensure that they incorporate it in their manifestos.
Exactly. We have indicated our demands to them, and we are telling them that this time we want them to respond. We want the narrative to change. We don't want them to speak, and we will be called upon to come and respond. We have spoken. We are there to ensure our welfare and to work in our interest. They are there to ensure that it is well with us. So
hopefully this will find its way in their manifestos as we gear up to the elections. We'll be looking up for all of this, and we'll definitely come back to you on what you think of what has happened. Now, let's get on to the National Democratic Congress, because its flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, has assured nurses and teachers of regulating their migration by securing contracts with countries in need of their services. By this policy, institutions responsible for training of their professionals will increase intake for surpluses to be exported. The former president explains these professionals will return to the country following the expiration of their contracts. Nanaya Ojima has more.
In 2023, the Ministry of Health revealed approximately 2,000 nurses employed in the state and mission health facilities in Ghana left the country. About 1,400 nurses worked within the Ghana Health Service, while the remaining 600 were employed in facilities associated with the Christian Health Association of Ghana. Management of many health facilities in the country continue to lose staff on daily basis. According to John Mahama, the country holds a chance in the export of health workers to other countries on fixed contract basis.
We want to increase the production of health workers and nurses, and we will employ them to work for us, as many as we can. But at the same time, we will sign agreements with other countries where we can post our nurses and health workers to go and work on fixed contracts and come back. And so under the Ministry of Employment, we will have a unit that is able to recruit nurses, make sure they are of the standard that they can work in international hospitals, and we will send them to go and work maybe for 4 years, 5 years, and then you come back. But we will produce more so that we can also give them automatic employment in our own country.
In sustaining the policy, there is the need for adequate nurses to be trained for local health facilities and for exports. Mr. Mahama reveals the quota system in the training colleges will be eliminated for more people to be trained.
And so that is the reason why we have to open up the numbers. Because right now there are quotas. If you go to a nursing training college, they have capacity to employ more, but the government has said don't employ more than this number, because it's only this number we can take. It's the same with teacher trainees. You go to the training colleges, the colleges of education, they have capacity to take more. There was one of the colleges, more than 2,000 people applied, and they could take only 300. And so the remaining 1,700 will have to sit at home.
Meanwhile, he indicated the policy will be extended to cover teachers as demands for their expertise continue to soar across the world.
We could send them to go and teach outside, depending on the subject they do, English, chemistry. There are places where people are looking for chemistry teachers, physics teachers, general science teachers, and so on and so forth. And so we are not going to cap the numbers. We will open up so that anybody who is qualified to be able to train will have the opportunity to train. We'll employ as many as we can in our schools and in our hospitals. The excess, we will sign contracts with other countries. We will send you to go and work for 4 years. You go and earn dollars, you buy your car, you come back.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
And this is your election brief on your election headquarters. It's on the Joy News channel, election headquarters for an informed electorate. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do enjoy the rest of our program.